Hello, and welcome to Powered by Eels, a project by Abby Cosgrove and Gloria Park from San Diego Mesa College. In this project, we'll be examining how the electricity of the Southern American electric eels affects their different aspects of their life. Electric eels are not actually true eels. Although they may look similar to true eels, electric eels are from the order Gymnotiformes, making them a type of knifefish. True eels, on the other hand, belong to the order Anguilliformes, and while some of its species may live in freshwater habitats like the electric eel, they'll migrate to saltwater areas to breed. Another thing that separates electric eels from true eels is that their main source of oxygen actually comes from air intake and not their gills like true eels. The South American electric eels are found in murky, stagnant freshwater habitats like lakes, streams, and flooded forests that are mostly shallow. In dry seasons, different bodies of water are cut off from each other, and when water levels rise again during wet seasons, juvenile eels move to new bodies of water, and the cycle repeats. Because their freshwater habitats are stagnant, they have low levels of dissolved oxygen due to algae overgrowth. This means that gills aren't that efficient for oxygen intake. So although these electric eels have gills, it is not their primary method of getting oxygen into their body. Electric eels are mainly air breathers, which means that they have to surface periodically to breathe. They receive almost 80% of their oxygen through their highly vascularized mouth, which is packed with blood vessels to maximize each intake. Electric eels have three organs that they use to produce electricity: the main organ, Hunter's organ, and Sachs organ. Together they make up 80% of an electric eel's body. The remaining 20% contain the rest of its vital organs located in the front of the electric eel. All three organs are filled with electrolytes, small disc-shaped cells that are used to create positive and negative charges that are set off by signals sent from the brain. These eels can create electric charges at varying levels of strength. The main organ and Hunter's organ are in charge of generating the stronger electric pulses, while Sachs' organ and Hunter's organ are used to produce weaker ones. The head of an electric eel has a positive charge, while the tail end has a negative charge. So when scanning their environment with their electricity, they begin at the tail and finish with the head. In order to do this, the fish must be able to swim backward. The polarity of the fish helps to create this electric field that influences much of the animal's behavior. Electric eels also need to stay relatively rigid in order to fully utilize their electricity. And because electric eels are not immune to their own shocks, a thick, slimy skin covers the entire body of the electric eel, which acts as a protective layer to insulate it from its own shocks.
The South American electric eel uses weak charges to communicate with each other. They can also use their electricity to send signals of information about mating status. The frequency of the pulses is also different between males and females, which can be used to communicate about sex and sexual receptivity. Electric eels use their electricity to stun prey while hunting. Because of their poor eyesight, these eels broadcast an electric discharge into the water around them to help them navigate and locate their prey. When they detect the disturbances in the electric fields caused by the other fish or objects in the water, they then stun the fish and hunt them down. The diet of adult electric eels consists of fish, crustaceans, insects, and amphibians, while the young feed on small invertebrates and unhatched eel eggs. When it comes to avoiding predators, electric eels can cloak their own electric signals to prevent predators from detecting them. Their need to keep a low profile is likely the reason why the eels produce such a weak pulse when they are not actively hunting. Since they live in relatively shallow habitats, the eels also have a hard time hiding and usually have to resort to their electrocution to escape. Their pulse can hit multiple targets at a lower level since it is distributed by the water, but they can leap out of the water and direct all their power at an animal partially submerged, which would be much more fatal. In the 1800s, there was a man named Alexander von Humboldt who was a German geographer. He traveled to the South American continent and tried to hunt electric eels in the water to catch them for study, and reported that they were able to take down a number of their horses. In this painting, which was made by a friend of Humboldt's, some horses are shown to be manic in the water, collapsed on the beach, or escaping. The fact that the eels were out of the water, on the horse's flank, or on the sand proved to many that this account was untrustworthy. However, since more recent studies have shown that eels have the ability to leap out of the water, we know this account to be true. Since their discovery in the late 18th century, there have been many theories about what made the eels so dangerous. Many cultures had different ideas, such as an occult-like magic or a cold venom. The discovery of their electricity would lead to new ideas that would help us learn about our own physiology and how to harness electricity. We learned that nerve conduction and muscle activation have to do with electric phenomena in the body. The idea of a battery's electric current also came from how the current of an eel works by flowing out of their head through the surface of the water or their target back onto their tail. Scientists in America are using electrolytes as a model for artificial cells that could, in the future, power medical implants and other tiny devices. This could be used for things like pacemakers or prosthetics. Alternatively, learning more about how the eels harness electricity in their bodies could lead to discoveries about how to harness the electricity in human bodies. It's also important to learn about the biodiversity of the species, how it is distributed in South America, and how they evolved to be the way they are today. As you take a moment to look at our sources, we'd like to thank you for watching and we hope you enjoyed the presentation.